What's up, man? This is our new co-host, Samurai. Say hello.
Samurai, speak to me. What do you have to say about Halloween 5?
That's how I feel too.
Please tell us more. Go on. What else? He's done.
Yeah. Interview over. My client has nothing left to say.
I'm sorry, Samurai. I'll take you back there.
Welcome to Season 3 of Matt Makes Zach Watch Horror Movies. Return to Haddonfield with the Horror Bros on their quest to watch the entire saga of Mikey Myers from the brand new horror lair. So you, dear listener, can witness the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. Are you too high for this?
Hello and welcome to Matt Makes Zach Watch Horror Movies. I'm Matt.
And I don't want to be here anymore.
He's Zach. I made him watch a horror movie. We're back to me having to make him watch them for this movie. So Zach, what did I make you watch this week?
Halloween 5. The Return of Michael. It's the return, right?
The Revenge.
The Revenge.
4 is the return.
The Revenge of Michael Myers. Yeah.
Yep. It's a movie.
Is it?
Technically. It was filmed.
It was a feature-length runtime.
Yes. So Zach, what'd you think of the movie?
Well, just like this episode, it was a nightmare before Christmas.
No, but yeah, it's pretty bad.
That sums up this movie pretty well.
I wasn't sure how long I was supposed to let you drink for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. To me, this is the low point of the Halloween franchise.
You want to know my list?
So, yeah.
Halloween. My eye is twitching. What did this movie do to me?
Broke you.
Jeez.
This is your climax.
You called. Halloween 2018. Halloween Kills. OG Halloween. What was what was after that? I think it was Halloween 2. Now. So let me restart that. Halloween 2018. Halloween Kills. OG Halloween. Halloween 2. Halloween 3. Halloween 4. Halloween 5.
Oh, hey, Halloween 3 moved up on the list.
This movie made me hate all the characters from Halloween 4 and everything that it started.
Fair. That's fair. Mine would still probably be Halloween 2018, Halloween 3, Halloween Kills, Halloween 4, Halloween 2, Halloween 5. Like down here, like out of camera, out of frame, Halloween 5.
my Halloween 5 is like somewhere over here.
Yeah.
That's how far it is.
Yeah. So Zach, I hate to have to ask you this, but can you summarize Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers?
I guess. Before we get in summary, I want to shout out
the
new little piece of art that we got there, commissioned by Andy K Illustration. Check him out.
Yes, it's so good.
And it's relevant to this movie because he also did a little drawing on the cardboard, and it says, P.S. Halloween 5 has the best / most inappropriate use of a slide whistle. And it does.
It does.
And we'll get into that. And it also says, did Michael Myers fuck his niece? No, I'm really concerned going forward.
There's only one more movie with his niece in it.
Another thing to summarize how I feel about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's two things in this movie I forgot the second thing, but the first thing was in the end when Loomis lures him to his house and stuff. Michael slashes Loomis, right? And then the next shot is a middle-aged cop like bashing the window with a shotgun, right?
Like you do.
So you would think the cool shot of the knife going across Loomis's chest would be in slow motion, and then the cop bashing out the window would be quick. No, it's the other way around. It's just a quick slash for Loomis and immediately cuts to the most slow motion of this middle-aged cop just...
I think that's just how that guy moves.
The glass is falling very slow. That was an intentional choice that they made.
All right, you know what? Fuck the summary. Let's just get into this movie. It's not like it's going to make more sense if we give a summary.
I got a summary.
Okay.
I got one. Because I got one.
All right, go ahead.
Welcome to my fireside chat about Halloween 5, the
ASMR.
Revenge. What's the revenge?
Yeah.
I keep forgetting.
You're good. Yeah.
The return of the revenge of Michael Myers. So he
Halloween 5, the Revenge of the Jedi.
So he didn't die in the last one. He floats down a river in the least menacing way possible. The least scary I've ever seen Michael Myers in my life. Some random old dude finds him and just treats this unconscious body for an entire year. And then he suddenly wakes up because he has a psycho-telekinetic link to his niece. And he goes back to Haddonfield because he just wants to give her a good home. And now Loomis is doing the same thing to the niece as he did Michael's. Just keeping her in.
He's perpetuating the cycle of violence. Yeah. That's what he's doing.
He's terrifying. He yells at her all the time. Help me get Michael in her face.
They murdered your sister? Do you see your dead sister? Look at your dead sister. Yeah. Okay. And then just like walks away.
Yeah, so Michael's Michael just wants to get her out of that situation. But the sister from the first one dies immediately. And we're now introduced to her obnoxious friend Tina, who is wearing the outfit of like an 8-year-old. And
she's just wearing all the clothes.
Yeah. So she's our main character now for some reason. And her group of friends and her boyfriend, who's also named Michael, who Michael kills and then takes his car and then pretends to be. Doesn't kill her, but just lets her like kiss his mask. But then a cowboy shows up to town who my headcanon is it's Pinhead, who's here on vacation. And he's just hanging out, visiting Freddy in that boiler room. But then Michael gets in all this trouble. He kills a bunch of people and like rescues his niece from Loomis. But then Loomis gets a comically large trap net and just keeps beating him with a whip.
The best part of this movie, though. Come on.
And then they put Michael in jail, and Pinhead's like, "Oh, Michael, God damn it, I'm on vacation." And then he breaks him out because Michael's up to his shit again, and Pinhead breaks him out. And then somehow this movie is going to continue into another one.
This movie was only an hour and a half, and we're both like exhausted from watching it.
You remember how in last week Matt fell asleep? I fell asleep in this one. I fell asleep in this one.
But this time it was the movie's fault. Like, this is fully like... All right, I think why I like this movie the least, and it sits at the bottom of my list of like all of them, is ultimately like, I've said it many times, the worst thing a movie can be is boring.
Yep.
I'm fine with bad or divisive.
Yes.
I mean, I believe you cut it out, but we were talking about this versus Blair Witch. Blair Witch, it's all intentional. It's divisive. This movie is not divisive. It's bad. As weird as this movie is, I should be like unsung hero of the Halloween franchise. It's so weird. I love it. And instead I'm like, I need a nap. I need a cookie. I want to lie down.
I'm pretty sure I've said it in another episode too, where same as you, like my biggest insult that I could give a movie is that it's boring.
Yeah.
Because even if I don't like a movie, at least I have an opinion on it. Not
Right.
just, oh my God, when is this going to be over?
All of the Star Wars movies, really. I was going to say the sequels, but the prequels, even the old ones, are divisive in ways.
Mhm.
I'll watch all of them, though.
Yeah.
They're all totally watchable.
Yeah. Every single one of them.
Halloween 3, you didn't like it. Totally watchable.
I watched it.
Yeah. If I put it on, you'd be like, at least something crazy happens in this movie. A kid's head bursts into snakes.
We can talk about Tom Atkins' mustache and like weird
Right.
accents and choices,
Right.
but there's something to talk about.
The closest this movie comes to having that is the actress playing Tina. But I don't know why she's in this movie, so it goes all the way
Yeah.
back around and becomes like boring nonsense again.
Because I was just like, in the previous movie, the little girl and her sister were the main two characters. In this movie, they must have thought the sister was too boring, killed her, and replaced her with like obnoxious 80s woman.
But we'll get into why.
Oh, great. Oh,
It's gonna be upsetting.
no.
Not that upsetting, don't worry. But
Oh, I remembered because I said two things that summarize how I felt about this movie. That was the first one. I just remember the second one. The sister has a dog. Michael kills the dog, presumably, at one point. At the end, Michael has
I forgot about the dog.
Michael has his lair in the attic of his home where he has all the bodies of the people he killed, and the little girl gets up there and she falls backwards and goes, and it's the dog, a close-up of the dog, but it's a dead-ass stuffed animal.
Oh, it's a stuffed animal somebody won in the claw machine right before this take. Like,
if you're gonna do that, don't do a close-up.
yeah. Like, it would have been like fine just to see it in the background. It would have been like, oh,
Yeah.
is that a dog? It moved on.
Or a quick pan or something very quick. It stayed long enough to where I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's a stuffed animal.
And honestly, if I can be honest, part of the best sequence of the film. Like, this is the part of the movie I like. And even that dog is still like, that's nuts. I love it. Like,
Oh yeah, and the mask is not Michael Myers.
no. Well, and it's extra unforgivable because part 4's mask, I get
It was
within world why it's a different mask because he picks up a different mask. This is supposed to be the mask from part 4. Why didn't they just use this movie came out 1 year after 4. That means they started filming it like 6 months after that movie. Why didn't they just grab the same mask?
like Matt brought up a good point while watching it. The mask looks like they used the mold of Tina's boyfriend.
Yeah, well, that Michael, yeah.
But he's like a slender dude with like a pointy nose. That's not what Michael
No.
Myers looks like.
No.
It's not even close. The pink mask with the blonde hair
Well,
was
and,
better.
yeah, I was saying like the mask from 4 isn't like exact, but like I buy it as a Michael Myers mask. This mask, like, it has too many defined features.
Yeah.
It's not vague. It's not the shape.
And
You know, it's like, no, that's a person's face.
And if you watch the video version on YouTube or Spotify, which you should, and watch all the way to the end for our little outro, I'm wearing that Michael Myers mask. It's very big on me because I am a skinny man, and it like hangs out and it's not tucked in like Michael's mask. That's the choice they made to make Michael Myers look like in this movie.
Yeah.
He looks ridiculous.
Which is weird coming off of 4 where, I mean, it's also a choice that doesn't always look good in some shots. They literally like put padding like in his shoulders to make him look bigger and broader. So then to like be like, okay, this one opposite. Like, why?
Where's Dick Warlock when you need him?
Right?
Instead, we got, what was his name? Donald Planks?
Shanks.
Shanks.
Not his fault. He's fine in this. He's fine, Michael. weirdly, Michael feels like he's not in this movie much, which is
Yeah.
another problem. Like I don't need Michael to be the main character a la Rob Zombie, but
Like
he's not in this movie.
I feel like he was in Halloween 3 more, and he wasn't in
Yeah.
that movie.
Technically, he is. He's on a TV in the background.
Exactly. So I felt like he was in it more.
I mean, this movie does boldly ask the question, what if Michael was incompetent, but somehow everyone was even more incompetent than him? Because, like, every time they cut to him hiding behind a bush, he's literally got, like, a hand up and he's, like, shaking the bush, like, oh, they can't see me.
That's right.
Every time.
That's right. Every single insert that they cut to of like some wrestling, it's clearly just some dude behind it.
Yeah. And, like, he's not hiding. Like,
I wish I was too high for this.
yeah, really. I mean, I got some stuff in my car. You want to take a minute?
At least Halloween 4 had the nice steaming hot coffee.
Well, Halloween 4 is like, again, like I told you a couple weeks ago, Halloween 3 and 4 are masterpieces compared to this. Like, Halloween 4 is like effectively paced and has characters.
Well, this movie was so bad, it affects my opinion of the movie
Right.
that came before it. Like,
I'm trying not to let it, because I still think some of the stuff that is good in 4 just is inherently still good here. Like, Donald Pleasance always shows up.
yeah.
Like, even, I mean, you can tell he is drunk in this movie, unlike 4. But even drunk, he's still like
Well,
an effective character actor.
In Halloween,
Daniel Harris is still good. Like,
in Halloween 4, the amount of him grabbing the little girl and being in her face yelling was one scene. That was this entire movie. He was doing that the entire
next
time.
movie, he grabs Paul Rudd and yells.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious to see if you like 6 better than 5, or if you're like, is this just a downward spiral?
This is the first movie that's been comparable to the Blair Witch for me. Like,
But I stand by it. That movie is making choices. This movie makes none. Things just happen.
yeah, exactly. Like, that's what I said. Like, the two things that summarize for it are two things that don't feel like an intentional movie making choice.
Yeah.
Like, why slow-mo the cop instead of the cool / of your two main characters? Why did you leave a stuffed animal close up in this movie?
Have you ever watched this is gonna be an odd pull. Have you ever watched 6 Days to Air, the documentary about South Park? It's absolutely yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. But it has those scenes of them in the classroom talking about how to structure a story.
Mhm.
And like, I got a lot of problems with South Park and some of their opinions,
Mhm.
but as storytellers, they're like
Oh, yeah.
excellent.
Every single storyboarding and screenwriting class I'm in,
Oh, yeah,
they all show the what was it, so and but speech that they do.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna talk, is the so and but, and how it should never be and then. This movie is all and then.
Yep.
And he kills a guy, so then he gets a car, and then he doesn't kill the girl because the cops show up, and then
Yep. Yeah. Okay. This is a moment I'd like to thank all my screenwriting and storyboarding teachers for teaching me better. So one day when I
Right.
do get to make a movie,
I now appreciate like every English teacher I ever had that was like, you should really rewrite this, because no one did that on this movie, literally.
Yeah. Where was John Carpenter for this one? What was he up to?
Checked out. Money, please.
Because all the other ones, it's like, oh, he was forced to be in it, or he did a little bit. But this one, I'm like, he was probably just off.
From 4 up until 2018, he is fuck that. I mean, he tries to come back once or twice.
Yeah.
Like they make push it. Either they try to get him back, or he is like kind of interested. But almost every time it comes down to scheduling and money, where he's like, John fucking Carpenter. No.
Yeah, I feel you, John.
Yeah.
I feel you now.
Good choice. Sure. At the same time you were making Memoirs of an Invisible Man your worst movie, but at least that movie has a plot.
Haven't seen it.
It's real bad.
Well,
It's Chevy Chase in a dramatic turn.
that's all you had to say.
Yeah.
That is all you had to say. Do not want to kick over my water.
That's a good call. Yeah, this movie though, I mean, we can't even like talk about the plot because the movie makes no sense. Things just kind of happen.
Why did that old man care for an unconscious body for a year?
Okay, so I'm gonna have to just kind of sprinkle things in from behind the scenes, just kind of throughout,
Yeah.
because it will answer a number of your questions.
This episode has little, it has no structure, and it's still more structured than this movie.
The
Please
plot of the
enlighten us.
average Teletubbies episode is better than this fucking movie. And the people who made it are all like talented people who made other things that are totally fine, which is why it's like even more disappointing. Where it's like, oh, this director made a couple like totally effective like horror thrillers, you know? Like, why does this movie have no suspense? But the opening. So originally, as in the script and as originally filmed, and this is,
Did you hear Samurai?
New co-host Samurai. I love him. We're best friends. As originally written and filmed, it was not just like a random old homeless man in the cave. The director and his writing team really wanted to kind of harken back to.
Hold on, the camera needs to see. Needs to see Samurai.
He's delightful, so get excited, guys. What's up, man? This is our new co-host, Samurai. Say hello.
Samurai, speak to me. What do you have to say about Halloween 5?
That's how I feel too.
Please tell us more. Go on. What else? He's done.
Yeah. Interview over. My client has nothing left to say.
I'm sorry, Samurai. I'll take you back there.
Okay.
So, Matt, tell the class.
So, the opening of this movie, it's more ridiculous, but the weirdness of this movie, I'm like, oh, this would like fit way better, and at least it would have like a tone. It was going to be Michael still floating down the river and gets found by someone, but it was like it sounds like he was supposed to be 80s Satanic Panic, like kind of like a gothy like cult member type person.
Michael Myers comes across someone playing D&D.
Right. Oh, just a goth teenager.
An obvious Satan worshiper.
Yeah. But that was going to be the bit, and it was going to be that guy spent the last year doing stuff to resurrect Michael Myers. And that's where like the Cult of Thorn tattoo would have come in, and like, yeah, Michael kills that guy, but then when somebody else that has the same tattoo as the two of them shows up, you're like, oh, now the Man in Black kind of they're this like cult that maybe worships Michael Myers or something, or
So
so
instead they decided to just show a tattoo,
right,
and leave room for me to assume that is Pinhead on vacation.
Just that Michael's always had ink and we didn't know,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
But like that, just something about the weirdness of this movie that makes more sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, everything has like a reason. And like the director talked about like, oh, I really wanted to harken back to like old Universal movies. I kind of wanted Michael to be a little bit Frankenstein-y, like maybe he's not pure evil. There's a little sympathy there. And which is in this movie, and it's arguably the most interesting stuff because clearly the director cares about it. All of the like, uncle, let me, like, and that stuff's kind of effective, or at least interesting.
So far, out of all the Halloween movies, when you get to the point where the behind the scenes stuff, 10 out of 10, it always makes me sad.
Right.
Because it's always like, this movie was supposed to be good. They had cool ideas.
I was just saying, even if it, like it doesn't sound like even they thought, like, it's not entirely good. It's a little bit corny, but like we're all in on it.
Yeah.
But there's also stuff like, so I believe I mentioned last episode, producer Mustafa Akkad has bought all of the rights now. And he, much like the only other thing I can think of that's comparable as like a producer and their family that have retained the rights this long is like the James Bond franchise has been run by the same family since the 60s. That's kind of what goes on with this, is like the Akkads still have a stake in Halloween. They still helped produce the new one. His son did, you know? So Mustafa Akkad really sees himself as like the steward of this, and that he is still correcting course from Halloween 3. So to him, these are Hitchcockian thrillers. And to the director, he was like, yeah, but we're in the age of the slasher movie. They should be big and violent and over the top. And so then Mustafa just like edits shit out. Which is why like they had to go back and refilm this scene with almost no violence in it, because apparently with the cult member it was gonna be like Michael like straight up like rips his heart out, like which I also have mixed feelings about in a Halloween movie. We've talked about it, but I'm like, but if that's what that would be like if you're like, we're gonna have to edit all of the violence out of Halloween Kills. I would be like, oh, so there's no movie. Like
see, because we both talked about and both agree, like the gratuitous violence doesn't feel very Michael Myers.
Yeah,
him ripping a dude's heart out would have been better than this movie.
Still cool, like
still something that doesn't make me fall asleep.
Right. And again, then like that kind of sets up like, oh, he's giving Michael, like you would see him giving Michael the tattoo, doing the magic on him, like. And then when somebody shows up with that tattoo, you're like, oh, fuck. As opposed to this movie where you're like,
Pinhead.
What? Right. Why is there a cowboy? Like,
Pinhead on vacation.
Yeah. I just love the funnel cakes in fall in Haddonfield. Such pleasures, such sights.
Is that what he's referring to when he's like, I'll show you the pleasures you've never seen? It's like funnel cake in Haddonfield.
No, but serious, it's like really good. How do you think Butterball gained all this weight? Chatterer wanted his teeth left just for that. This is better than the movie. And it's pretty bad.
I need to get like really good at VFX so we can film like some cosplayers acting that out and put them in the background.
It'll be amazing. Just he will not be the Man in Black, but in the background you'll just see like Pinhead walk by with like a plate of funnel cake. Good. This is pretty good.
He's just got like a black leather like Hawaiian shirt on.
Oh, that's Jerry. I go by Jerry here. Be cool. Helen, so good to see you. Oh, now we have to get back to talking about this movie.
This is the type of movie where you have to create your own fun with.
Yeah. So, Zach, what other questions do you have that I can answer about it, I guess? Oh. Why get rid of the really good and effective final girl from the first movie?
Enlighten us.
Well, you have to pay actors, you see. And
What?
Oftentimes, when they come back for a second movie, you have to give them a raise. And they said, nah. And she said, well, then I don't know if I want to be in your movie. And they're like, what about like 1 week? She's like, all right. That's why I was like, it's a bummer, but it's not like as much of a bummer as it could have been, I guess.
So here's a question for whoever is in charge of money for this movie. All that money you didn't pay her, where it didn't go to the stuffed animal dog. So what'd you do with that extra money,
Right.
huh?
Well, I gotta wonder, You know who did the effects for this movie was K&B Effects, who are a legendary effects house. They came up under Tom Savini. They worked on like Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead. They did a ton of George Romero stuff. One of them actually is the head makeup artist for all of The Walking Dead, which has great practical effects. They did Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness. The list goes like on and on. So I'm like, I bet the gore effects in this movie fucking rule.
Yeah.
And we're never going to see them.
Yeah, because literally the knife slashing Loomis is just like, boom, boom.
Yeah. But then like when you see like the aftermath corpses, they all look really cool, which is what you want in a slasher movie. Like it always feels weird to say out loud, like, I need more violence. But I mean, these guys came up under Tom Savini and they're doing a slasher movie. Like, I can only imagine what this movie looked like.
Yeah.
But then again, they also made the Michael mask. So
So after this, it's only Halloween 6.
that is the last of the original canon.
Thank God.
Because H2O and Resurrection only acknowledge 1 and 2.
Because one thing that's impressive to me is the fact that after all these years and after all these stinkers, people still care about Michael Myers and Halloween franchise and want to see more.
That's what I always say about, like, yeah, fuck it, reboot it, make a sequel. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
If we like it, no one will care.
Yeah.
Hellraiser? How many Hellraiser movies have you heard of?
Just one. I don't
There
know how many
are
there are.
10 different Hellraiser sequels alone. That first one is so good, we still are like, I mean, that movie fucking rules, though.
Dang.
There are 3 Jaws sequels that we all just don't talk about. You know, like the only ones that really like people kind of like acknowledge the sequels are like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, because some of those sequels are really good. Some of those sequels, arguably, especially with Friday the 13th, are like better than the first movie. As opposed to Halloween, where I know you are not of this opinion, but most people would say none of the sequels are as good as the first one. The first one is like a masterpiece, you know? So they just ignore them. I think that happens a lot with movies. Yeah. There are people that are like, yeah, I don't really watch the 2 other Godfather films. Or at least I don't watch Godfather 3. You know? Like,
side tangent, I'm a big Mafia movie person. When I got to Godfather 3, I turned it off after like 45 minutes.
Oh, there's the new cut that's supposed to be pretty good.
I'll have to give it another chance.
Yeah,
but
it's not a good movie.
But it's like it's like Star Wars. Like even if you're not a fan of the sequels, it's more Star Wars, so I'm happy about it.
Yeah, my sisters don't really like, are both quite a bit older than me and grew up on Star Wars, and they're like, yeah, I just don't really watch the prequels. I watch those 3 movies. Those are Star Wars to me, and I'm like, cool. Yeah, I've seen seen the prequels more than any other Star Wars movie. That's totally fair. I mean, that you're the right age group for that. Like, I mean, that's why like I've never really cared for the 3rd prequel, but I actually like love Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace came out when I was 10. Yeah, of course I fucking love it. Like, I like Batman and Robin. Like, yeah. Donald Pleasance, he shows up. He's doing the work. I like him in this movie. He's help me. I think it's a unfortunately logical progression for the way this character has gone in the last 4 movies. I mean, like the other movies, we joke about how extreme Loomis is and how he's actually the villain. This one, he lives 100%. Up to our exaggeration of him. Although I will say, I was re-listening to Taking Shape. Everybody buy the book. It's great. My birthday was recently. Matt got it for me, so it's after really this, I can read it. Yeah. See, now you can read up to 5. Where he was talking shit on the movie like in Fangoria during production. He totally Mark Hamilled it and was like, I very much disagree with this director. Except then where Mark Hamill was like, but then, we talked about it and I really came around and blah, 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 blah. None of that. He thinks that, but like the quote is wild because I was like, who do you think Loomis is? Because the quote is like, he thinks that Loomis is stern and should yell all the time. That's just not the way I've played Loomis up until now. And I was like, are you sure? Has Donald Pleasance seen a Halloween movie? Like, he's yelling more in this one, but I'm like, this is not out of character for Loomis at all.
In his head, he is Philosopher's Stone Dumbledore,
right?
But in reality, he's Order of
very
Phoenix
much Michael
Dumbledore.
Gambon, yeah.
What if Donald Pleasance played Dumbledore?
I mean, they grabbed two other like Hammer horror guys from the 60s to play him. So
I haven't seen them in anything other than Potter.
They're like legendary like stage actors.
Nice.
One of them is Sleepy Hollow. We'll definitely watch that movie.
Is that the one with Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
Yeah, they started to play it before we watched Halloween. It's one I've always wanted to watch.
It's really good. But it's not good. This fucking movie.
Remember how
you know what? Let's just do an exercise. Let's each find one nice thing to say about this movie because I'm starting to feel bad.
I mean, I was gonna save it to the end, but I was like, because how I'm impressed, like you can still care about Michael Myers after all these movies, and it never killed the franchise. And as we always say, you made a movie, we didn't. So
100%, yeah. Nothing but respect, really.
Yeah, you made a movie. That's not an easy task. We're just two dudes.
Yeah,
shitting on it.
Yeah, sorry.
We're not serious film reviewers.
You all seem like really nice people too. Like every interview I've like read or seen with any of them, I'm like, they seem like a delight.
Yeah, I mean, film people are cool. Like, they're just trying to make a movie.
It's true.
Nice things about it. Because it's the same thing where you told me about Halloween 3 in what I was saying about the behind the scenes stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When you told me Joe Dante was supposed to direct it, I was like, that would have been amazing. This movie would have been my favorite probably. And this one, when you talked about like how they wanted to make him like Frankenstein's monster and stuff, the end where like he takes off her mat and he like cries, I was like, where's this going? And then immediately he's just like, no, I'm Michael Myers, I'm gonna kill you. Like,
but even him flipping out, I like.
Yeah,
like, it works for me. And like Loomis is kind of alluding to it with like the rage inside you, and you just need to calm it down.
Yeah. Well, it was like I liked where it was going, and then a comically large net fell on him, and Loomis started beating him with a plank. So
I would say from when she gets in the laundry chute to the comically large net is all like a very good movie that I would totally watch.
Yeah.
And I wonder if left more to their own devices, the movie would have leaned more that way. Like how much of this was studio interference? How much of this was they just don't know how to make a Halloween movie?
Yeah. Because I will say there's some movies where I'm like, oh, this is just like bad writing. And like I felt like there was good ideas here.
Yeah.
They're just whatever restrictions they had or limitations like made the movie result in the way it was.
That's what I'd like to think it was, like sometimes studio notes save a movie, sometimes they ruin it. You know what I mean? Like
what's the nice thing about this movie?
I really love all of the set design in this movie, especially the Michael Myers house.
The attic.
Yeah, that's all really cool and really leans on like kind of a cool like gothic Universal Monsters vibe. And overall, I think the movie's pretty well shot. I think there's some really good, cool cinematography stuff that clearly like, the cinematographer was definitely like, oh, I know how to translate your ideas. Like there must have been a really good relationship between him and the director. Yeah,
I feel like the cinematography good. It was the editing that kind
every
of
editing choice is bonkers.
Yeah, that took a dump on the cinematography because they would either not cut too soon or cut too soon. Like the Loomis, they cut too soon. The guy bashing the window, they left that too long. There was one part where, because there's a lot of like chase scenes with the little girl. there's one part where she goes under her table, and the cameraman was like running, and like it should have stopped there, but then he was like, "Oh shit, wait, do I go under like over?" And they left all that in.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything that is a choice in this movie feels like someone went, oh.
Yeah.
And we got to talk about what I think is the worst part of this movie now, Zach. And it is from that cardboard. The fuck are those two cops?
You are not Bud and, or what was it, Bud and Jimmy?
I don't. Yeah, no, they are no Bud and Jimmy.
Was that the slide whistle that he was talking about?
Yeah.
When they show up? Yeah, so these two cops show up and they play it comically, like...
They play clown music. Like...
And the weird thing is, they weren't wacky. They were just two cops.
They have like a joke or two, but like clearly they are the comic relief. But like the comic relief in a Halloween movie is, you know, like, but like they were treating it like I said, like they were the Terenzi brothers from fucking Killer Clowns.
Yeah, and like their jokes weren't like them. The joke was like they thought Michael Myers was the other kid, and it's like, haha, like.
Well, I mean, like when they do that, they say like, "Luckily for you, we're lousy cops."
Yeah,
and we're like, "Oh yeah, that's a joke. That's a pretty good joke, actually." Like, I wonder if like those two actors are also playing it really straight, and I'm sure they were directed to. But I wonder if you put it like the guys from Killer Clowns who were both stand-up comics. If you put in like guys like that, you know, like maybe like it would have landed better, like or maybe if you just directed them like be a little bigger, be a little sillier, like
or like it was just the funny parts with it. They were just in the cop car, like that was their only scenes in the whole movie, like in Halloween 2018, where the Bon Mi situation.
I think a pretty direct homage to this movie because they love the franchise.
Now that I've seen it, they're. Which that's what's cool about watching all these is now I'm like picking up on things from 2018 and Halloween Kills.
I mean, clearly those are two people that somehow love Halloween 5. They're Danny McBride and David Gordon Green.
Or like, hey, let's pay homage to that, but actually make it funny.
Right. Let's have a comedy writer write the scene of comedy.
I was kind of hoping the slide whistle would be like over a kill or something, or like a wah wah.
No, that would be too interesting. Instead, it's how do we tell these characters are funny? They'll never know, which is problem one. That we'll never know. Yeah. Can you imagine if those two cops were Jerry and Kramer? That's all I can think now.
That would have been incredible.
Oh my God.
What's the deal with all these teenagers?
Kids these days ain't got no respect.
I'm telling you, Jerry. Come on, forget them kids. Let's play Crazy Eights.
Better movie. I rarely say that we should give Michael Richards work, but maybe we should go back and refilm this scene.
And this would have been like pre-Seinfeld.
Yeah. Like... Oh, this is when he was making UHF with Weird Al. Hell yeah.
Well, I think remember how we were like, wow, this movie, only an hour's gone by. Only 50 minutes have gone by, but it feels like way more. And in that 50 minutes, we've come up with like several different better ideas for this movie.
Easily better.
Some jokes and some actually real.
All right, let's get in. Can I get into my favorite behind the scenes thing about this movie?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to remember his full name. I believe it's Jean-Dominique Girard is the director, who is like French Swiss. Has the coolest name ever. Like, yeah, of course you direct movies. So he apparently wound up meeting Deborah Hill, who still was in contact with Mustafa Akkad, and she really liked like one of his movies, and she said like, "Oh, I'll give him your number." So he got a call saying like, "Hey, do you want to come in and interview for directing Halloween 5? We already have a script. We'll send you the script. You come in, you pitch us on like the tone you want, we'll see if you're the right fit. So the director, he reads the script. He thinks it's very bad. Calls one of his friends who's a writer and is like, just come to the meeting with me. Sends him the script so he can read it. And he's also like, it's pretty bad. So the director goes in by himself with Mustafa Akkad and I believe the 2 screenwriters. And Mustafa Akkad is like, so what'd you think of the script? And he looks at him, he looks at the 2 screenwriters and goes, do you want to make a Halloween 6 one day? And he's like, excuse me? He goes, yeah, here's what you need to do. Picks up his copy of the script, throws it in the trash, and says, I got a friend out there. Let me bring him in. But then just sitting there talking about like, how would you fix this movie? They pitched like a better movie, apparently. Like, apparently this movie is better than what the original script was. But again, their pitch was Michael is Frankenstein. Michael is a character in this movie. And then Mustafa Akkad says, well, I'm not going to let you do that. But I admire how like direct and forthcoming you are and some of the tonal stuff you talked about. You guys with another writer that I like are going to write this movie and you're going to direct it. And then partway through the movie, I believe there's a writer's strike, or at least the potential of one, which is where the Man in Black comes in, because they've made all of these changes now, but now they can't rewrite the script. So they literally just say, I don't know, what if we just have somebody show up with the same tattoo as Michael and he frees him from prison? They'll figure it out in Halloween 6. Because to their credit, that was what Halloween 4 did. Halloween 4, like literally the director turned down directing Halloween 5 because he was like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck you do with her being set up as the killer. Clearly you're not going to do that. And I don't want to have to figure it out. Let someone else figure it out. That is right now with these 3, with 4, 5, and 6, their own little mini trilogy here. That is literally the thought process behind the ending of each one is, I don't know, whoever directs the next one will figure it out.
You know why this cut's so deep?
Why?
This exact same situation happened to my favorite franchise. I don't know, the next guy will figure it out.
Which franchise is that? Oh, well, yeah. Yeah.
Nothing makes me more mad about movies than missed opportunities and hearing about an idea that would have been an amazing movie and they're like, nah.
Yeah.
Like, that makes me so mad. And it's like always the people not making the movie making that decision.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's always the producers. Like
you could have given, like, Frankenstein Michael Myers would have been cool. Like,
that's
I would have dug that.
We'd all still be talking about it. No one talks about Halloween 5.
Yeah, that would have been cool. That's just the one thing that I'm always just like as someone who like wants to make movies and stuff, like just the thought of like you have such a cool idea and it seems like you're gonna be able to do it, and then it's just like, oh no, surprise, you're actually gonna make Halloween 5. Right.
Well, and it's that tough thing of like just everything it feels like must have gone kind of wrong for this movie was, the producers told him from the start, we don't want you to do that take, and he kept trying to do that take.
Mm-hmm.
But also that was what he pitched them.
Yeah.
And then there's all these issues with the writing of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's budget issues and there's time issues. Like, movies are miracles. They are dart dropped from space. Even hitting the dartboard at all is like.
What was that quote from? Because this is a callback. Because you made that quote when we started the podcast.
He used that on an episode where he was talking about Scream. So I specifically used it on the Scream episode.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm like, I remember you making that quote like at the beginning of the podcast. Yeah.
Let me get his name. I want to credit him properly. Yes. Everyone should watch his stuff. He's genuinely maybe my one of my 3 or 4 favorite people on the internet. So
It's number 1 and 2, Matt and Zach.
Yeah, obviously. He is Film Joy on YouTube. It's called, his series is always called Movies with Mikey. It's the one he does himself, and there are other ones on the channel. But he's Mikey B. Newman. He's really great. Also, everybody should totally help him out because he's one of the people that got hit by Texas last winter. His whole house got destroyed. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. So go watch his stuff. Give him money if you can. He seems very cool. But yeah, that's who that quote comes from. And it's just the best summary of it is the fact that you even could see that there was a target means you're with. This movie didn't hit the dartboard, got closer than most of them in that it came out. It was released in theaters. Yeah. It made money.
When this came out, what was like public opinion and reaction?
People really liked 4. This is really capitalizing on it. It's 1 year after, which is probably part of the problem.
Yeah.
Most sequels that don't take, an appropriate amount of, not all sequels that take a long time are good, but any movie that is like in less than a year, we went from, what should we do next to the final product is being released tomorrow,
and that's the difference between like this and the new Halloween movies where they were like, oh, we're going to make a trilogy.
Halloween 2018, there was literally a year and a half just of pre-production.
Yeah.
From the time that John Carpenter says, oh yeah, I'll come on board.
Yeah. And they're like, let's make a trilogy. It was like, let's see where we can go with Halloween 4 and then go from there. Probably.
Yeah. Well, they left some stuff up in the air. What do you think would be cool?
Yeah.
Is what they're doing, Yeah. And some of it is cool. Like, she's not an evil killer. She's got a psychic link. That's interesting. That's something.
Little Lady Michael Myers would have been more interesting.
I think so. I think her breaking out and starting to kill and him killing simultaneously coming after her and who's doing the killing and how do you stop a kid? Yeah. Do we protect her? Those are all interesting questions that this movie is not interested in.
If they were, it would have made it interesting.
Yep. Can't have that. That's the other thing is ultimately a producer's job is to make money, and what makes money is
this is uncontrolled.
Zach sliding crotch first into a camera.
What were you gonna say?
Is the safest choice. The safest choice is what makes money.
Mm-hmm.
We're sitting here being like, oh, why'd they bring JJ back? Because Force Awakens made all of the fucking money.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you bring him back?
But then Disney goes around and doesn't want to make money and puts a movie like Solo in not the normal Star Wars slot and doesn't market it, so it fails, so they don't have to make more. Want.
And there's a lot about that movie. There's a lot to that.
Disney did it with Winnie the Pooh as well to kill 2D animation.
Yeah. That one I agree on. I still don't know what, because that Winnie the Pooh movie is so good.
Yeah, they wanted to stop doing 2D and have an excuse.
Yeah. I'm sure there's more to it, but yeah, pretty much. Solo was just doomed from the start, which is a bummer because I like that movie. But
Childish Latino, baby.
Yeah. The middle of that movie is really good. It's the 2 bookends that I'm like,
Yeah.
But you know what movie isn't good? Halloween 5. So we'll be back next week. All right, Zach, sit up and tell the people where they can find you.
Yo, Instagram and Twitter, Zach Shirk. That's me. What about you, Matt?
You can find me on everything from Instagram to OnlyFans as I draw paintings.
Hell yeah, baby. And on that note,
Can I do
what
one?
am I doing? I don't even like cats. I do like cats. That's a lie.
Bye.
Yeah, you want to do one?
No. Do you see? Do you see?
Bye.
Bye.
As the Vox fades, we thank you for listening to this bizarre journey into cinema. If your morbid curiosities hunger for more, you may summon our horror bros at mattmakezack.com, on Twitter and Instagram at macmakezack, or if you dare, say George Lucas 3 times into a mirror for a visit from our phantom menaces. You may now return to your mortal plane of existence. Until next week, as Matt makes Zack sit through another chilling apparition. Mwah!